Hi guys, today's vlog is not gonna actually be a vlog, it's gonna be a recipe. This is gonna be my chili recipe. I have never actually shared it as a full in-depth video, walkthrough, anything like that. You guys have definitely, I think, have seen me making it, stirring it, stuff like that in the last house. But I finally decided that it is just time to share it with you guys. I'm gonna share it with you. And for all I know, this could be just like other chili recipes. I've never looked at other chili recipes, to be honest. This is the only chili that I will eat, and it is incredibly delicious. I've actually had family members, at work, they had a chili contest thing, and I've had them win from this recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you guys, and I hope that you love it. It's so good. And without further ado, let's get started with the materials. All right, I'm also gonna list this down below, and I'm gonna list my original recipe, but there's a couple things that I don't have on hand, so I won't actually be using them here, but I'll talk about that. So obviously the first thing you're gonna need is a crock pot. However, this isn't like a simple crock pot where you just throw it all in here from the get-go, turn it on and go. No, you actually have to cook the meat first, and we're gonna cook the vegetables down as well, and I'll show you guys how that goes in this video. But let's stick to the ingredients for now. So some of this, you can obviously figure out how many cans you actually want, really kind of depending on how much chili you want to make. But I like to do 2 pounds of the beef, because then I can have enough to store away in the freezer and pull it out for, whenever I want some extra chili. But if you have a large family, then this, you'd probably want to go with the amount that I'm going with here. All right, so let's look at the beans. These are the beans I've always used. They're the chili beans in the mild sauce. Sometimes I flip between 2 to 3 cans. So obviously add however many beans that you want. Then there is the stewed tomatoes. So I think originally the recipe's 2 cans of this, but the stewed tomatoes are my favorite, so you can see that I have 3 cans here. I do go over the top, but they are delicious and my favorite. Then I add a can of Rotel. Now this is where you can change it up and add hot or whatever spicy levelness that you want your chili to be. I don't handle spicy stuff very well, so I try to go on the milder side. So I add a can of this. Now what we're missing here is a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, okay? But they were sold out, so I settled on the diced. Now the fire roasted is spicy, but it is the only can of spicy that I add, so that's why I opt for the mild in the Rotel. But you could do the fire roasted, and then you could do the spicy, just again, to your taste there. But if you don't like spicy like I do, you could do the fire roasted and then do a can of mild Rotel. But again, I don't have the fire roasted, so we're just settling with diced. Then you're gonna need your bell peppers, yellow, green, red, and a sweet onion. Sometimes I go back and forth. Honestly, I don't know my onions well enough, but the original recipe calls for sweet onion, but sometimes I do use a red onion. But today we're gonna go with the yellow. And then your bell peppers. So actually I do 3, but I don't have 3. They've been sold out at my Walmart for some time. So you're gonna wanna do 2 to 3, but I love the jalapenos in mine as well. So yeah, and then there's different ways that we're gonna cut these up, some with seeds and some without. Again, it's just that spicy level, just to kind of keep it tame for me. And then you're gonna want a bottle of the ragu. Okay, I do the tomato, garlic, and onion. It's the one that I always do, and I get this size right here. I think I end up with leftover, so maybe a smaller jar will work, but for some reason, I always get the bigger one. But this is key. Then you want to do your ground beef. So I assume that you could opt for turkey beef, or however that works if you don't do red meat. But I do 80-20. 80/20 has that nice fat content. It tastes amazing. I know it's not the healthiest, so obviously substitute whatever meat, but this is a beef-ish recipe, so I don't know how this would taste with chicken, honestly. All right, then let's talk about our spices. So I'm missing pepper. I actually just ran out of pepper. I know that's sad, but you're gonna need salt, you're gonna need pepper, you're gonna need chili powder, and you're gonna need garlic salt. But I ran out of garlic salt. I actually have garlic powder, so I think I might switch the onion powder with the garlic powder, but the original recipe calls for garlic salt. So the first thing that I like to do is actually chop the bell peppers, the onion, and the jalapenos first before I start browning the meat, just because I can tend to get behind a little bit and I don't want to burn the beef. So we're gonna start with this first, and I'm gonna get them chopped. So I've chopped up all of the peppers, but we're not done. We still have to do the onion and the jalapenos. However, I'm gonna go ahead and now start browning the beef. Add this to a medium-ish high heat, however, whatever temperature that you use when you are browning beef, maybe like however you make tacos, that same concept. So if you are not wanting to do this much beef, you can do 1 pound of this. I've actually done that in the past. I can tend to really, I always love the tomatoes. I could honestly just eat this chili because of how good the tomatoes taste in it and the beans. So you could make it, without beef at all, and it would still be incredibly delicious. But you can definitely change how much beef you use. Hello. Okay, meanwhile, so I don't want it to be this chunky, so I keep working on it to break it down. So while that continues to brown, we're gonna finish with the vegetables. So we're gonna chop an onion. I've always only used half an onion. It calls for a full onion, but every time I chop a half an onion, it just seems like a lot. But listen, go with the full recipe, because I imagine it calls for 1 whole onion for a reason. I just never attempted it. Maybe I'll do like 3/4. Oh my gosh. A lot of onions. Oh my god. I can't even keep my eyes open. Chop for a minute. Oh, my eyes. Oh, what the fuck? Do you feel it? Yeah. All right, and the last vegetable that we're gonna add are the jalapenos. Now, I do this 2 ways. I cut one, I take off the top, the stem, and then I simply just cut like this. And it ends up cutting like this. So we keep the whole thing intact, the seeds as well, and I just cut in these as thin as I possibly can. So that's how I cut one of the jalapenos. Then the next one is I remove the seeds, So I cut the full thing down the middle, and I remove the entire inside, and then I just chop basically the shell. So once you have the shell cut out, then I chop it like this. I mean, you can definitely rough chop this, or else your bites of your jalapenos will be like this, but I like it like this. I think they're really tasty, but you can cut them into smaller sections. All right, so the meat has almost fully been browned. Yeah, I think every piece is pretty much there. So now you want to drain the excess fat. Now we're gonna add the vegetables. To everything in before we season. I'm gonna add the exact measurements of the seasoning down below. So once you have all the seasoning in, you want to give it another good stir. You want to let it sit here and cook and let the vegetables saute down, get soft, and then we'll transport into the crock pot. Usually I let this cook for about 10-ish minutes, but I think that the original recipe calls for a little bit longer, but 10 to 15 minutes. While that is going, we're gonna go ahead and prep the crock pot now. So I'm gonna get it plugged in, and we're gonna start opening up all the cans and getting them in here. I'm putting mine on 8 hours, but I think 6 could probably be pretty good too, but I am gonna go ahead and set it on 8, and I'm gonna get these opened. So here's the list of cans that I drain before I put in here. We drain the rotel, we drain the beans, we drain the diced. I typically don't drain the stewed. There's not that much liquid in here, but you can drain these as well. Basically all of them, but I do not drain the stewed. All right, I decided to bypass the third can of the stewed tomatoes. As a matter of fact, I would probably recommend doing 2 of the stewed for your first time and 2 of the beans for your first time. I wouldn't go with the 3 cans like I did. That way, once you make it, you'll be able to decide, you know, do you love the tomatoes so much, you want to add more or less, even then. The same thing with beans. So I would definitely start off with 2 cans of each of these, and then you saw I did 2 of the diced, 1 being rotel and 1 being just the regular diced. We're not going to add this till the end, but now we're going to, and I'm not going to stir this because we're going to stir it again. So now we're going to add the meat. All right, so in it goes. All right, so now we want to get all of this mixed in. I do a little bit of rough mixing. All right, now I'm gonna add the ragu sauce. And we're just gonna pour that on top. I will leave, again, like I said, the exact recipe. I don't remember off the top of my head. I've made this so much that now I just eyeball everything. But now we're gonna give a good full mix. And I add a little bit of extra for giggles. Now we're gonna cover this up, and the beauty of the crock pot is we're gonna let it do its thing. So the following clip that you're gonna see, which won't happen for a couple of hours, is I end up getting a bowl and I set it beside this because it produces a lot of excess liquid and oils, probably because I add a lot of tomatoes, but I just scoop it up and it goes into this as my little like trash bowl. Okay, so that you're gonna see next. And then once we've reached the end of the time, you just treat it like you would any chili, I guess, however you do it. I add some shredded cheese to mine, and that's it. It can definitely be frozen, and it tastes amazing. But yeah, like I said, the next clip will be me scooping out the excess liquid, and then I will show you guys also the final result. All right, then add whatever else that you typically would add to chili. I just simply add shredded cheese, get it mixed in there, let the cheese melt a little bit. This is the recipe. I will list the full instructions down below. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.